Waiting on God's timing is one of the most challenging aspects of the Christian walk. Yet, it is in the waiting that we learn to trust Him fully and experience His peace. Here are 5 points to help us find peace in God's perfect timing. Number 1. Trust that God's timing is perfect. God is never late and He is never early. He operates on a timeline far beyond our comprehension. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 reminds us, "To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven." We often want things to happen immediately, but God sees the bigger picture. Consider the story of Abraham and Sarah. They were promised a son, but the fulfillment of that promise did not come until decades later. Despite their doubts and missteps, God's timing was perfect. Isaac's birth was a testimony of God's faithfulness. When you are tempted to rush ahead, remind yourself that God is not bound by human deadlines. His timing is aligned with His purpose, and it is always for your ultimate good. Number 2. Waiting produces spiritual growth. God uses seasons of waiting to refine us and build our character. Romans 5 verses 3-4 says, "And not only that, but we also glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation produces perseverance, and perseverance, character, and character, hope." In the waiting, God shapes us into the people that He has called us to be. Think about Joseph. Before he became a ruler in Egypt, he endured many years of waiting in slavery and in prison. During that time, God was developing his faith, his humility, and his leadership for the position that God was preparing him for. When you embrace the process, you will begin to see the waiting period not as a punishment, but as preparation for the blessings that are to come. Trust that God is using this time to grow you into His image. Number 3. God's timing protects you from premature blessings. Sometimes God delays things to protect us from receiving blessings that we are not yet ready for. Proverbs 16 verse 9 says, "A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps." Consider the parable of the prodigal son in Luke 15. He demanded his inheritance early, but it ultimately led to destruction because he was not prepared to handle it. God's delays are often His fatherly way of guiding us from harm. When you are tempted to doubt His timing, remember that He knows what you can handle and when you can handle it. Trust that His delays are for your protection and your ultimate benefit, because they are. Number 4. Peace comes from trusting God's promises. Finding peace in God's timing means clinging to His promises, even when the circumstances don't make sense. Isaiah 26 verse 3 declares, "You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts you." When you focus on God's promises rather than your own problems, His peace will guard your heart. For example, Psalm 37 verse 7 encourages us to rest in the Lord and to wait patiently for Him. Do not fret because of him who prospers in his way. If God has given you a promise, hold on to it with unwavering faith. His word never returns void, and He is faithful to fulfill what He has spoken in His perfect time. Number 5. Surrender your timeline to God. True peace comes when you surrender your timeline and your plans to God. Proverbs 3 verses 5-6 tells us, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths." Jesus modeled this perfectly in the Garden of Gethsemane. Knowing the suffering that He was about to endure, He prayed, "Not my will, but your will be done." Even in the face of unimaginable pain, Jesus trusted the Father's timing and His plan. Let go of your need to control the outcome. When you release your plans to God, you make room for His peace to fill your heart. Friends, finding peace in God's timing requires trust, patience, and surrender. Remember that His timing is perfect. The waiting builds your character. His delays protect you. His promises bring peace, and surrendering your plans to Him opens the door to His best. Psalm 27 verse 14 offers this final encouragement. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and He shall strengthen your heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. God is never in a hurry, but He is always on time. Rest in His timing and trust that what He has for you will come at the perfect moment.